guys? This is your boy Luis, and as always, thanks for tuning in to another episode. You guys have been following on along, and you guys know that I have officially finished the wiring. So one of the main things that I have left is to pretty much put back all my accessories, all my charge piping, put on my brake pads, and hopefully try to get the software going for this thing so I could kind of try to get this thing started. So in this video, I'm going to try to button up some of the things. I have my water neck off right now. I have it over here. So I'm going to begin to clean this stuff off and pretty much put some silicone, a gasket, and hopefully get those things on. You guys were wondering, I am using a GM coolant temp sensor and then my OEM dash sensor right there. So my dash coolant my dash sensor works, and I could monitor the temperature on that. Another thing that I was going to show you guys is that I have officially put my glove box in there. Now everything does fit tight. I did, as you guys can see, have to cut the back of this, so everything's a tight fit in there. I am having an issue with not being able to open correctly the glove box, so for the time being I have it open right now, but it does close. I did struggle to try to get it open again, but as you guys can see, everything in there is pretty tight, which is not bad. But like I said, I got some brake pads. I got the brake pads for this thing. Unfortunately, they didn't send me the pins to lock my brake pads in place, so I cannot tighten all this stuff down. My calipers are loose right now, so they're not tightened down. And then yeah, I'm gonna have to go get some hardware so I could put my brake pads in. But enough talking, let me try to get this thing on. I have a brand new gasket over here, so I am gonna be throwing a gasket plus, you know, a little bit of silicone on that, and then hopefully start buttoning everything up. Maybe put some charge piping. I don't have some charge piping for the turbo side, but yeah guys, let me begin and start working on this thing. Alright guys, so we got the brake pads on. They're centered right, so everything's good to go. I got the wheel on this side on, so everything's going as planned, guys. Let's get it. Alright guys, so I got my thermostat housing hard mounted. I went ahead and I wrinkled blacked my mounts for my radiator, and I painted the bolts black, so that's looking good. I have my fuel rail over here that I'm also doing a wrinkle black on it, so that should kind of make the engine bay look nicer. I got my lower hose back on for the water neck right there. I got my radiator pretty much hard mounted. I went ahead and I mounted the bottom too, so these fans are not moving anywhere. I'm gonna begin to prep my intake manifold so I could actually mount that as well. As you guys can see here, I got a brand new gasket, so that's gonna go on, and yeah, we're moving along. Alright guys, got the fuel rail, got my AUS 1600cc injectors. These are a direct fit, so they could fit on the stock fuel rail. So I'm going to begin to pretty much put these on and get everything bolted up to the block. The fuel rail is finally on. It's tightened down. I ran my plugs on the bottom and they're tilted back because I was afraid to get anywhere near the intake manifold, so I kind of point them slightly back. But time to clean that thing up and hopefully begin to tighten her down. So let's see how that goes. She's very dirty. I'm looking and I'm missing a couple of nuts and studs, so I'm gonna go ahead and run to Ace and buy 4 studs. I'm missing 4 nuts, and I'm gonna get 11 lock washers. And as you guys can see here, this is the plate that's gonna go behind my EGR. the back of the head is already blocked off, so it's not necessary for me to put this there. But since the kit that I bought a long time ago for this intake manifold came with that plate, I'm gonna go ahead and use it anyways. So little quick run to Ace and let's get this thing on. Alrighty guys, look how much progress we have made. Like I said, fuel rail's on, the intake manifold is on. I gotta say this was a little bit of a pain in the butt to throw on, because if you guys remember last time I was running a different intake manifold, so getting all those bolts or studs tightened down was a bit of a pain in the butt, but we got it done. As you guys can see, I got all my harness here, and I'm gonna begin to kind of route everything and then clip everything on and kind of zip tie everything together that needs to be zip tied together. That way everything could look clean. But we're making some good progress here, guys. Man, this thing is looking so good. I am so excited. So let's keep rolling. Alright guys, so I got most of my wiring pretty much routed where it needs to go. There's a couple of things that I gotta do still as far as that goes, but most of it's done. I have this coupler here from my previous front facing intake manifold, and then I have the pipe here that I'm actually doing the wrinkled black. I have it hanging right there, so I'm doing the wrinkled black on that. It was like a kind of like a chrome or something like that, but it just didn't look good. I feel like most of the intercooler piping should be like wrinkled black like that, looking good. As far as that goes, guys, we are almost there. Yes. Alright guys, so the bottom intake is or that pipe is on. As you can see, it looks a lot better like that. I did have an old throttle bracket for my throttle cable. The only thing is that this is a different intake manifold, so this one was angled very weird, and I feel like it was gonna get stuck some of the time. So I found a bracket that I had somewhere laying around. I'm gonna make a new hole, and this one seems to be like it's gonna be at an angled, it's gonna be at a better angle. And on top of that, I'll be able to kind of cut right here and then be able to slide the stud in here and tighten it down to see how it moves. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that and see how that goes. So I got my throttle cable finally on. Since this throttle body is actually flipped upside down, it actually spins this way instead of counterclockwise, but no biggie. I just routed the wire over to this side instead of this side, and then I made that little bracket. It looks kind of ugly, but it works. I already tested the pedal and it feels very smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get some fittings that I need so I could begin to route my vacuum lines. One for my ECU, one for my brake booster, blow-off valve, a couple other things that I have, but I am gonna be doing it right there. There's a couple of caps that I need to buy, but other than that, we are one step closer, guys. So close. I did go to the Ace hardware store, and I did go to another place called Speed Factory, which I found a block-off plate for the old EGR. So I'm gonna go ahead and block that off right there with this plate, just to make it look better. But I wasn't able to find any caps that I need for this intake manifold. So there's a few that I'm not gonna be using. I think I'm only gonna be using the back 3. I forgot to mention I do have my fuel pressure regulator off, and that's because I had a dilemma. I had a problem where the return line was actually hitting on the steering column down there, and that's the last thing I want, is my steering column to be rubbing on it and eventually to cause a leak. So I gotta find a new way to mount my fuel pressure regulator, so I gotta figure out somewhere over here. I like the location it was at because it was kind of out of the way, so I might have to invent or look up a new way to do that. Hopefully it doesn't look too ugly, but yeah guys. Alright guys, so in order to fix that little issue that I had with my fuel pressure regulator, being it was mounted up here against the firewall, but that was not going to work because the line was going to hit the bottom over there on the steering column. So conveniently I found this little bracket just in the box, spare parts box that I have. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to mount this right there, and then this bracket is going to be right there, and I'm going to mount the fuel pressure regulator pretty much right next to the shock tower, and all the lines should be able to still fit, and it's not going to be in the way of the steering column. So I'll show you guys how it looks right now. So there it is. I kind of do not like the placement of it, but I had made a mistake. I cut the fuel line, the return line, basically too short. So when I found out that it was hitting on the steering column, I kind of did not have enough room, but made that little bracket there. I would have liked for it to sit somewhere over here since there's a lot of space there, but in a way, you know, we'll work with what we have. It doesn't look terrible there, but like I said, I would have liked it to sit on that corner better. But hey, it works. We made it work, and it's pretty much done now. As you can see, I got my catch can right there. It's not hard mounted yet because of my new harness. I have a bit of a bulk back there, but I gotta figure out a hard way to mount it. I was thinking like right there to that spot, but I need a long enough bolt to do that. But everything is pretty much set, guys. Got my fuse box, everything is pretty much good to go. Got my overfill reservoir for my radiator. Everything's good to go, guys. So this is very exciting for me because now comes the technical part as far as getting the base map and all that stuff set up. Keep in mind that I have never ever messed around with ECU Master's software or on a laptop or anything like that, so that's another learning process that I'm gonna have to figure out. Hopefully my friend Cody could kind of maybe stop by one of these days and kind of help me out with the triggers and make sure that everything is actually wired up correctly. Fingers crossed that I wired everything up correctly and that there is no mistakes. But as far as that goes, guys, oh my goodness, it's looking so good. I'm so excited. I'm ready to hear this thing run. Yeah, guys, if you guys have any questions at all, please comment down below. I know a lot of you guys comment or ask me questions online, and I appreciate that because if I could help some way or another, I am always glad to help. I know that this has been a learning experience for me, so if I could help in any way or in any form that I have learned throughout my process, I am always willing to help. But yeah, guys, other than that, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.